Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror fans. This podcast will cover horror movie reviews, ratings, and rankings. Now for your hosts, Danny and Joel.
Okay, this is Scare Talk. I am Danny, and I am here with country music, Katrina.
Oh, okay.
And then we've got disc jockey Joel.
Okay.
Wait,
hey guys, what's up?
Oh, jockey.
Yeah.
The jockey part is the
Okay.
J. So.
There we go. And we have these names today because we have a radio guy on the show with us. He was the voice of afternoon rock radio in Sacramento, and now does he's the host of the award-winning podcast, the Mikey podcast. We're here with Mikey.
What up, guys? How's everybody doing?
We're good.
Hey, good.
Doing
Yeah.
good.
Thanks for
hanging in there.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I know we've gone back and forth about getting me on this for a while now. I'm glad I'm able to jump on.
Yeah, no, glad to have you.
Yeah.
We've been, listening to all the shows that you've been on. You were the night guy over at 98 Rock for a while.
Yeah.
You had an afternoon show for years. So once I saw, things kind of changed, I was like, oh, let's hit up Mikey, see if he can come on. I know he's got some free time.
Plenty of free time now.
We have a story about your nighttime DJing, by the way.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We'll see.
What is it?
We'll see if you remember this. But yeah, so you were, working in Sacramento doing 98 Rock for a long time. And so, we got some questions about just radio in general.
Okay.
What's the best part of radio, working in radio?
Right now, I see, so what it used to be for me was the connection and like connecting with people. And over the years that remained part of it, was being able to connect. And obviously when I was younger, I wanted to be in radio forever since I was a little tiny kid. So I was 7 years old. But when you get a little bit, I became a teenager in early 20s. It's like it was about going, getting free concert tickets and meeting chicks and whatever. But there was always this part about connection, and that part has never left me. But more so now, it's more about still connecting, but in a different way, making people feel, because the world is so different. So for me, it's hard to connect on a physical level so much now. People are busy. People are doing so much shit. The only way you connect now is on social media and stuff like that. So I've kind of felt like, at least for myself, it's become more about being able to make somebody feel something. So whether it's happiness, sadness, you're laughing at me or with me or whatever it is, if you can hate me if you want to, but if I've made you feel something, then I've really done something. And that is what I still feel like is one of the greatest things about radio, is because you can still, because you have that such a wide net to reach people, you can still make people feel something. Even all this bullshit, all this other stuff that's out there for people, radio will still always make people feel something. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, especially when you have the radio personalities, right? You're not just a person pressing play on a song.
Yeah.
You've got
if you're
on the radio.
Yeah, like just like a DJ, like on a top 40 station or something, they don't really get that opportunity. They don't get that opportunity to connect or feel like everything's got to be very, very quick. But luckily for rock radio and in like news talk and stuff like that, but really specifically rock radio and morning shows on every other type of station. But rock radio has embraced the personality side, or tried to embrace the personality side of radio. And that's really where radio needs to go. Because, you look at the world, look at podcasts and stuff. Podcasts are the biggest thing right now, or at least getting there. And radio's kind of dying because no one goes to the radio for music.
Right.
They go to the radio for a person. They go to for a companion. Yeah. And if you don't have that companionship, what's the point?
Right. Yeah. So like when people would call in and stuff, like that was something cool for you to be able to connect, with the listeners and stuff.
Absolutely, especially in my early days, man. Like being able to take phone calls and put people on the air and mess with people and play games and stunts and do stupid things or pranks, whatever, back then was really, really cool. And then when we started doing the show, like that damn show when we incorporate phone calls, that was a little different, because that was like, other than playing games and giving stuff away, that was just including people into the conversation.
Right.
Because that's what that damn show was, at least to me, and probably by Stroke, our design of it was to create a conversation where hopefully it felt like maybe if we were at the bar or something, it's just a bunch of dudes kind of just sitting around the bar talking and people just chiming in. And it's like me and Stroke and Ian talking, but the people chiming in were those people calling in. Yeah. And that's what we wanted to create. And so when we get those phone calls, man, we knew that, we knew what that conversation was really, really good. And so, yeah, phone calls were always awesome, but they didn't always mean it wasn't like the what we were looking for at all points in time, at least for me too. It wasn't always what I was looking for. Because not everyone's going to call you. A very small percentage of your audience is going to call. Yeah. And a really small percentage of your audience is going to send you a text or even reach out to you. So it's like smaller than 10% of people I actually can connect with that way. Yeah. It's everybody else that's out there that they don't want to call, or they don't want to text, or they're embarrassed, or they're shy, or whatever it is. Those are the people that you really got to think about more so than those callers. Because those callers are what you call P1s. They're always going to be there. They're never going to leave. You can make fun of them. You can hang up on them. You can be an asshole to them, and they'll still be there the very next day. They'll tell you they hate you, but they'll still be there. But it's the masses that you want to try to appeal to.
Yeah.
I just rambled on and on. Sorry, it's something I do.
Well, it sounds like you got the right idea.
Perfect radio.
Yeah. That's what I look for when I go to the radio. So.
But it seems like that leads very well into the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's this story? I gotta know.
All right. So you said there's a very small percentage of people who call or even text or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so back in,
it was like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
12, 13
probably
years
longer.
Ago.
So me and Joel and our buddy Eric, we were roommates, and we used to work on Hollywood Video.
I remember Hollywood Video.
Yeah. Over on.
I remember you guys.
Manzanita. Manzanita and Fair Oaks. Yeah. So we used to work there, so we would close most of the time, and so we were up late all the time. And you were the night guy on 98 Rock, and you never had your lines open, to call in at night. You guys, it was just you, and so I'm sure most radio stations don't. So we would text in, and we would text just, this was kind of like trolling before there was trolling. So we'd text in like, Mikey, why are you playing this stupid song? And like. And just dumb stuff, and but then we would text in like real questions or whatever, but we didn't get a response. And then one night you guys did have your lines open because there was like a contest that like rolled over into your time slot. So we were like, oh cool, we gotta call in. And so our buddy Eric called in. You guys were just kind of chatting. And at the time, we had a MySpace music page.
Yeah.
And we used to do...
We're really dating ourselves, by the way.
Yeah. We would do like dumb rap songs or whatever. And so Eric was like talking to you, and he's like, hey, can you shout out the MySpace URL on the air? And so you came back on, and you did. And it was really cool.
Yeah.
And
saw our numbers just skyrocket for the next like hour or so. It's like, oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was really like dumb music, and it was funny because you're like, I mean, you must have listened to it for that couple minutes, because you were like, I don't remember what song was playing, but you were like, yeah, there goes Red Hot Chili Peppers, and why don't you guys check out this one? It's a little different. And then you said the URL.
I don't remember that, but I can tell you why the phone lines were always busy. Okay. And because that show that they had me doing at night, like I had to record that show. So I was almost 95% of the time I was never even there.
Really?
So,
Oh, wow.
so like, how great is it now to be like all these years you thought I was in there, but now you just burst your radio bubble for you.
That's funny.
Yeah.
There's a lot of radio
man.
like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of radio nowadays like that too. That you think is live, that is very much recorded.
Okay.
But it's not. But I was there because I was the creative director at that time for the station, so I was there all day and I was doing other shit. So at the end of the day, like the last couple hours of my day, I recorded that show, and then it went on the air.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I always wondered, like, man,
Secrets
they got him there
revealed.
late.
Yeah.
I can pull back the curtain and tell you guys whatever you want to know about radio,
Okay.
but I don't want to ruin it for you.
That's really funny.
Hey, we don't listen. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, we don't listen to the radio much anyway. So.
Yeah.
I know nobody does, man. It sucks.
Oh, I listen every day.
Yeah.
to the
Dude,
radio.
what do you listen to?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
I
what do you
listen to multiple stations.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite station now?
It depends on the day, but right now I've been really jamming 101.1 because I'm loving the old school stuff.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff too.
Yeah, and then as Danny introduced me, I'm a country music gal.
Oh okay.
And so I love 105 and 103.5 is now country.
Yeah,
it is no
but
longer the
KNCI is
bomb.
better. Yeah, KNCI is better though.
KNCI
right? 105
is better for the most part, but when they're getting too repetitive, because sometimes they start playing the same songs over and over.
Yeah.
103.5 I know 103.5 goes back to some 90s stuff, and I'm a 90s girl, so
okay.
that's
Do you
my
ever
jam.
listen to that? You ever listen to the new The End or whatever it's called, 107.9?
Yes, so it's isn't it 106.5 is like now like the new, like what 107.9 used to be?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they
so
changed
it
it.
actually used to be on 107.9, and then that they killed somebody a few years like a
Yeah.
while
Yes,
ago.
the water
So-
contest.
Is it the,
So
the
when they-
weed?
when they-
yeah.
Yeah, when they
That was so
murdered that lady,
Yes.
they
Yeah.
there's been a bunch of lawsuits going back and forth, and the company that I used to work for owned that station and owned that frequency and owned the license for that. But during the lawsuits, they eventually lost that license, and they moved 107.9 The End to the 106.5 frequency, which they also owned, and then sold off the other one. So iHeartRadio now owns 107.9 that frequency, and then brought in the new 107.9, whatever they're calling it, 107.9 The End. I don't know what it's called, but it's good. It's a pretty good station.
Oh.
It's just the DJs are terrible on it. The
Yeah.
music is all right.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that station came back like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
frequency.
should.
But I don't think
it's
they
like,
call it The End.
No, I forget what it's called. I think it's Kiss. Maybe it's a Kiss. Maybe.
Okay.
Shit. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah,
But
107.9 was the end when I was in high school, so it's been
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not that
A while.
anymore.
yeah.
I forget. I don't know what it's called, but it's pretty good. It's like 90s, kind of early 2000s. Some stuff from today, but
Okay.
it's like a mixture of everything. I heard like Backstreet Boys and fucking Nickelback and everything, all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Okay, I'll have to tune in and
Wait,
see.
hold on.
So it's
You
still
said
basically my
Nickelback.
high school years.
Yeah.
You said Nickelback, and you said it was OK Station.
Oh, you know what? I'll be honest with you. There's probably 3 Nickelback songs I like.
Okay.
And I always will give them credit for the show that they put on. If you've never
Yeah.
seen a Nickelback
Yeah.
show, like
Oh, yeah.
just fucking kick your pride to the side and go to a Nickelback show, because that shit is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I don't
No.
understand the hate on Nickelback.
Yeah. We love
Hey, I think
Nickelback, so I'm,
Okay, good.
I'm just giving you a hard time because I know you talk
Yeah.
crap on them all the time.
I just do it for fun. That's what it is.
Because
So,
it's
you know,
popular to hate on him.
It is.
yeah, it's cool to hate. They hate
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
themselves. It's fun to
Yeah.
hate. Whatever.
It's one of those bands that the radio, whenever they have a new song on, the radio will just destroy the bands by just replaying their songs all the time. It's like
Over and over.
every
and over
time someone
again.
gets in the car, it's that new Nickelback song. So it's I can
Yep.
see where the hate comes from, but it's not
Yeah.
their fault. It's the radio station's fault. Sorry.
Well, it's
by
not my
playing them a
fault.
bunch
It's
of times.
fucking
Oh, no,
record
sorry.
labels and radio stations
Yeah.
working together, because every time a radio station
Mhm.
plays a song, a record label makes a little bit of money off of it.
Right.
So even
Yeah.
a song from the 90s, if we play a Sublime song on 98 Rock, that record label makes, fucking 25 cents or whatever
Right.
every
right.
time. So think about that. Think about every Nickelback song is getting played right now as we're talking. That record label's making 10 fucking cents or something. Every Nickelback song in the world. So these guys are making a ton of money.
Yeah,
that's why they keep playing their fucking records.
Yep. All right. So speaking of music, why doesn't, and I don't know if this is just 98 Rock or if this is all rock radio, I feel like they don't play anything new. Like, they might play a couple of new songs, like Metallica, of course, if something new comes out. But that's about it. What's that about?
Well, the main reason is, and this goes with why you hear a lot of the same shit over and over again, is because, research throughout the years has shown that familiarity is what keeps people at a radio station. So if so the masses, again, this comes back to like instead of programming to the group of people that are always going to be there, radio has to try to program to the masses. So a station like 98 Rock is going to play all the really familiar songs and play them often so that people stay listening. Okay. And every time they tune in 98 Rock, hopefully they're going to hear something that's familiar to them. Now, if they tune in and they hear a song from fucking, whatever band that just came out, and what the fuck is this? They're going to go change the station and go over to the Eagle or whatever and hear a song that's more familiar and comfortable with. People need familiarity. People need to be comfortable and safe. And this is all like the science behind it. I don't really believe in that shit. And that's where because, that's why you look at like Apple Music, Pandora, fucking Spotify, even Sirius XM, they're successful because they don't necessarily follow that. Right. Or they do to an extent. So if you type in, pick Metallica, you type it in Pandora, and now you created a Metallica station, you're going to get some new music, but you're also going to get a lot of really good familiar shit that you love and stuff that's never going to make you turn away. And at that time too, you've also started to kind of create a relationship with Pandora because they're playing all these awesome songs that you really, really like. You're like, oh, well, maybe I will like this new song that they're giving me.
Yeah.
Right,
so
right.
It all comes down to, again, like we were saying earlier, this connection that you create now with your radio station. If you start to build this trust with them. So if you trust them because they play all your other good music, if they do play you a new song, you'll stick. But the chances of them playing a new song is very, very slim because they don't want to lose you. And stations that end up taking the chances, regular terrestrial radio that ends up taking the chances and playing new music tends to not do well because of that reason. Because people like the familiarity, so they tune away. And it sucks that it's like that, but the world is different though now. I mean, that's what I mean when I was saying before, like people don't necessarily go to the radio for music anymore. Yeah. They go to other places to get their music. I mean, I have every fucking song, any song I want right now. I just type it on my phone. There it is. I can hear it.
Yep.
Yeah.
No radio is going to be able to do that. Radio can't do that for you ever. We can never read your mind and tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah. But sometimes you can tell us what we didn't realize we wanted to hear and we did want to hear. That's the fun of radio.
That is true. And that is very true. And that's something that Pandora and those guys can't do. They can play a song for you, but they can't without a personality to say, fuck, you missed this song. I got to tell you, I heard this brand new song and it's really, really good. Whatever it is, it's from 3 Days Grace. It's this, it's that. It's amazing. This band is awesome. Trust me. I'm Mikey. You've listened to me forever. I'm telling you, it's a good song. So there's a better chance of something like that happening from a personality that you trust, that you're familiar with, as opposed to, just an algorithm playing music. Yeah. But, it all also comes down, it's subjective. It all comes down to who you are as a person too.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm curious on that note of science behind it. Has there ever been research around like the best time of day to play new music?
Not really. I would say not really like scientific research, but they tend to just put it in at night. Okay. So the newer stuff will get, depending on the band. If it's a Metallica song, you're going to get it played throughout the whole day because it's Metallica. They're the fucking gods, or, something like that, Disturbed, whatever. But if it's a newer, younger sounding band, Black Veil Brides or something, that if a radio station is going to play them, they're going to play them probably after 7:00. Because that's when the audience is way smaller, the sample is way smaller, there's less people to move away, and there's younger people listening. Kids are home from school, kids may be still listening. Now, this is an old school way of thinking when kids actually listen to the radio, but they still kind of program to that. So
Yeah.
There's a lot of younger people listening, or there's people who, maybe the kids are at work, or just a younger audience working, and they're working in the shops or working wherever the fuck they're working, or driving around, and maybe they want to hear they want to hear the music. So that's why you end up hearing that stuff probably more at night as opposed to like 10 o'clock in the morning. And that's another thing too, like the scheduling the music. It's not just about that when it comes to the new music. They think that way when it comes to particular bands too. So System of a Down, for example, for a long time, really, really long time, you would rarely hear a System of a Down song on 98 Rock between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Maybe once in a while, but it was very rare that you would, because it was so heavy that the thought process was there'd be businesses that wouldn't play 98 Rock because that song would come on, and they'd be like, I don't want to fucking hear this crazy heavy metal music in my business. These older guys that are running the business don't want to hear that shit. So they wouldn't play those songs for that reason. So hopefully we can get more at work type play. You know what I mean?
And that's why
there's so much behind the planning and thinking through of your day through radio, and even the whole week, and all this other bullshit that goes along with all the imaging and all that other stuff too. But there's science behind all of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you guys played Nickelback. The songs that are on the radio are the most like radio friendly songs ever, and so they're the most catchy songs. So you guys can hate on them, but you all know the lyrics when you hear it. So
and that's. But you say that too, and they're writing those songs to a scientific method.
Yeah.
There's a science to that there's a science to writing a hit, to the exact chords, to the way it pleases the ear, to the way a human hears it, all this shit, and the way it makes somebody feel. There's science behind all of it. Like anybody, you two, all of us, the four of us could sit here, and if we knew the science and we read the book, whatever it was, we could write a fucking song and it'd be a hit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's gotta be catchy.
Yeah, I've actually seen like reels on Instagram or something, and it's like, just 30 seconds. It's like how to make a hit in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's just
exactly
like, this bass line, this, drum line, this chord.
3 chords and a guitar, and you're good.
Yeah. And it's like, and then this melody, and boom, you're done. And then they just do the song right there in 30 seconds. I'm like, wow, okay, you make it seem so easy.
Yeah. Smelly Cat.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Yeah. All right.
Did you just say Smelly Cat? I'm sorry.
Yes.
That song's brilliant. I love that song.
Exactly.
Friends reference there.
Yes.
But it's a hit.
It is a hit.
Everyone knows it.
It's a hit.
Okay, so you guys did That Damn Show. From what I know, that was a pretty successful show. Is that?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
So I was really
successful.
surprised when you guys were kind of taking off. What's that about? Do you know why?
Well, yeah, I do a little bit. There's only so much I can honestly say, and I know that not as if you guys would go and tell anybody, but I just have to be careful because of legal reasons.
Yeah.
But I can tell you what they told us, and they told us that they wanted to take this station and the afternoon part of the station in a different direction.
Okay.
This was a few years in the making, in my opinion, because they slowly, and I've said this on my podcast and said it on the radio, so I think I can say this now safely, is they slowly over time have dismantled that radio station and our show. Mm-hmm. So, which all led up to that point, and a new boss coming in and all these other things. Okay. So, I've said this on my podcast, and I'll say it here because I'll plug it. January 23rd.
Yeah.
That's the day when I'm allowed to say what I am going to say. I think there's like some confusion. Some people think I'm going to make an announcement like where I'm going and shit like that. I have nothing to say there. Yeah. But I will talk about how we were let go and why I believe we were let go and what I think has happened to that radio station over the past few years. And I've been there for a long time. I helped build it to make what it was, to make it what it was. Early on when I was doing the night show, and even when I left, I left and went to Boston and then went to New York. I still was doing stuff for 98 Rock that whole time.
Oh, wow. And
then I came back and then we really created something new, and then we created That Damn Show. And man, it's sad for me, for somebody who's been there as long as I've been, and seeing the people that I've seen come and go, and now looking at it and removing Rob, the morning show from the whole situation. There's not a single person there that was ever there when it was successful. So
Pat Martin,
where it's at,
is Pat Martin not there anymore?
No, he's not. He's over. He left and went to the Eagle.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I
do remember that now. Yeah.
So
okay.
there's not a single person there when that station was that even knows the legacy of what that station is or even cares.
Yeah.
So-
Wow, that's really amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Pat Martin was like,
He was
He was the
was
guy.
98
Yeah.
Rock.
You can't it's Rob, it's Pat Martin, and then who else you got? There ain't nobody else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
When you had that damn show.
Yeah.
When Pat Martin left, it was like, what the fuck? Who they put some lady on from Seattle? Who is this lady? No one knows who
Yeah.
that is, and she's there for 6 months. And they bring another lady in who actually lives in Las Vegas. She's not even here.
Oh, wow.
Carlota. She's not even good.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I'm sorry. No, actually, Carlota's a very sweet lady. She's very, very nice. I just don't.
She's one of
know
our
that-
listeners, so just
Well, maybe she might be. But I'm being honest. I'm just saying that she's actually, she's a very nice lady, and I think she probably does a pretty good show with what she's given.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Gotcha.
But I mean, it's tough shoes to fill when Pat Martin was there for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Nobody's
was like
gonna
a
yeah.
staple name.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's gonna be Pat Martin. Like Pat Martin is a legend.
Yeah.
You know, that guy. He's somebody that guy taught me so much. I looked up to him. He trained me in so many different ways. This somebody I kind of modeled my certain parts of my career after him. Like that guy is, to me, will always be one of the king fucking radio people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so I guess you weren't like super surprised, I guess, when the show got taken off.
No, man, we weren't because,
Okay.
dude, like behind the scenes, we would come in daily. We would say it on the air too, and we weren't joking. People might thought we were joking. We'd be like, "Oh, you never know. We might not be here tomorrow." We were dead fucking serious because because like just the things that we were told that were supposed to happen weren't happening, and the way we were being treated was different.
Okay.
And it was such a awkward place to be for like the last 6 months or so. And so we kind of felt it coming, and we knew, but still at the same time, even if we knew, we didn't really know. So when
Sure.
when it does happen, you're just like, fuck, now what? Fuck,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's tough too because I'm not from here. I'm from Cleveland, and I've lived all over the place, but I consider this place my home. You know, like
Sure.
I have my kids are here. I'm getting married here. Like this is where I planted my
Mhm.
seeds. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of fucking shitty to have to even think about potentially having to leave.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. But there are, like I said, there's some options, some people that I've been talking to, and a couple people I'm going to be talking to in the next few days to see what could happen. Maybe some other radio stations here in the
Yeah,
market.
I mean, you've got so much experience in the radio business, so I don't think getting a job in the field would be that difficult. I don't know though, because like we were saying, it's kind of a dying art these days.
Yeah,
But,
luckily, you know, I would say luckily, like you just said, like I have a lot of experience, and luckily with the experience that I have, like, you know, I joke around. I say the award-winning podcast, but it did win the. I did win the award, and,
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is an
as
award-winning
silly as
podcast.
it is. I did, and the show that damn show has won awards. I also won awards just as a voiceover and a producer and a solo DJ as well. So those things are good and help me. The reason why I say this because those things will at least help me get the job. But more importantly, I think I hope to God that I created or built some sort of following here in this town that another radio station will see value to and be like, this is an opportunity to fucking either put the final nails in the coffin of 98 Rock or at least take a little bit more of what they had and bring it over here. And so
like
we'll
the
see.
river.
maybe the river, you know, maybe I don't know. It'd be cool to. I would honestly, as much shit as I talked about the river, I would go on the river.
Yeah.
I would do news talk. I'd go to KFBK. I would do.
That'd be cool.
You know, I think I'd even do country if I had to, but not that I know country music, but I think I can. At least I think I can.
I'll help
relate
you
to
out.
the people. There you go. But there are some opportunities, and we'll see what happens. So
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we wish you luck with that for sure.
Thank
but
you. I appreciate it.
in the meantime, you have this podcast that you've been doing.
Yeah.
How is that going?
Pretty good so far. Dude, I didn't like. The podcast is a lot of fun. To me, it's like this. To me, if I could do that for a living, if I could get what I need to get out of that in order to survive, that would be the greatest thing ever, because I love doing that. It's the freedom that comes with it is amazing.
Yeah.
Just the hardest thing about it is just making sure I stay consistent and make sure I have interesting enough topics. And now I started bringing in people where I'm doing interviews on Fridays and stuff. So I want to make sure I have more and more people to interview, but I'm trying to build something out of it. I'm trying to build a radio show, but in a podcast world. Mm-hmm. And so I think taking those elements of what I know from radio and my years of the science behind radio, and then what I'm learning in podcasting and what I know with technology, I think I can combine all this shit together and hopefully create something that people are really going to enjoy. Yeah. And at least it seems to be working right now.
Okay.
And if I can only grow it and get better and maybe include a few more people and just see what happens, fuck, man, this could be the thing.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
I hope.
So, I've been listening to several of your episodes on the Mikey podcast, and I got to say, I think my favorite episode so far, talking about interviews, you had a guy on, I think in February. I think you just re-uploaded it not that long ago.
You're talking about the RenAHitman.com?
Yeah, RenAHitman.com.
Oh, I haven't listened to that yet.
Runs a website called RenAHitman.com, and it was originally a joke website.
Yeah.
But he actually had like people would write into him, like real legitimate people wanting a hitman, and yeah, it's a good interview there. So,
wow. I think I'm gonna have
for sure.
I think I'm gonna have him back on because we've talked a couple of times, and I might make him a reoccurring guest because he continues to get people from all over the world sending him inquiries about renting an actual hitman to have somebody killed.
Oh my gosh.
It's insane to me that people think that they could do that on just a regular fucking internet. Like you go to the dark web. Like, www.rentafuckinghitman. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
who are these people?
Wow.
His website's been on like the news and like New York like magazines and stuff like that, and people are still calling in like, guys, this is a joke. Like, what are you doing?
This guy's been in the Post, the Washington Post, the New York Post. He's been on ABC. He's been interviewed in San Francisco, in LA. He's been on radio shows and podcasts all over the fucking world. And people still will go to this guy, and he continues to get stories. And like he sends me a message like, "Oh, Mikey, this guy, you gotta fucking hear the story about this guy in Arizona, or whatever." Like, let's do this. So cool. I mean, yeah, he's an interesting dude. And the way he created that website was supposed to be something about like just trying to, it's Rent a Hitman. It was you're supposed to hire these people to help get hits to your website. That was the whole play on it. And they never created the business that they were trying to create. They just left the website up. And then one day he decided to check the emails, and there was people in there trying to fucking get somebody to kill somebody for him. I was like, oh, shit.
So funny.
I think the craziest thing about that is he mentioned that he prevented a presidential assassination by doing that. Yeah. Like, people actually wrote about hiring someone to murder the president.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. If it was Trump, that doesn't surprise me.
Well, I guess,
yeah.
And plus, but like he's also prevented like trafficking, kids getting trafficked, and just like in kidnappings and all kinds of crazy things, man. Like this guy, like if you haven't heard that podcast, go listen to it. Like it's just a great episode.
Okay, that's so funny.
He lives in Placerville, right?
I think maybe it's in Vacaville, maybe or Fairfield, somewhere maybe that area. I could be wrong. I don't exactly remember.
So he's pretty local.
Yeah, he's local, man. He was a listener of that damn show. That's how I connected with him, because he was like, "I love your show, man." I had this website. Nice. I'm like, "What the fuck? You're that guy?"
That is so funny. So that's what I was wondering is how do you choose like who you're going to interview? Like, do you have a certain?
I will interview anybody.
Okay.
There's honestly there's I've had a couple like random people kind of like hit me up like, hey man, interview me. I'm like, why? You know, and then they don't have any reason. Like, I just think I'd be entertaining. Well, I don't know about that. But there,
right.
but then there's
there
like
goes my thought. No, I'm joking.
well, I mean, I just feel like there has to be at least one thing that we can base this conversation on that you want to talk about, and then we can go from there. Like I had some lady message me and she says, "Hey, I was an alcoholic and I went through all this shit, like all this horrible things. She went to rehab and she feels like she really wants to get her message out there about addiction and things." And I'm like, okay, maybe and I have a connection to some addiction stuff too, so I think that could be kind of cool. But I have some interesting interviews lined up. There's a guy, I have a porn addiction guy I'm going to record with next week. He's which I thought was really interesting. And unfortunately I had him lined up in line after I was going to have a porn star on. So I had this porn star lined up, and she takes her shit seriously. Like this lady's like, I fucking wrote a book, and I have my OnlyFans, and my OnlyFans is like helping couples and all this other stuff. I'm like, you're insane, but I want to hear why you think you're doing this. I want to know your whole story. And then I was gonna talk to her about all that, and then go to him about the porn addiction and see what he thinks, and at least have that. But she bailed on me, so now I got this porn addiction guy. But that'll be cool. I have him, and then I have some lady who calls herself like she basically helps women not give a fuck. So I don't know what that's all about. So that should be kind of fun. And then and then another interview with some lady who wrote a book about Dyer Lane, which should be cool too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a local situation. So that'd be cool. Mm-hmm. And that came out of nowhere. It was like some lady. I just booked her. She shared, so Lara and I 4 or 5 years ago went to Dyer Lane around Halloween and took a Ouija board with us, and we were like trying to talk to ghosts and shit.
Okay.
And we videoed this thing, we put it up online, and it's floating around online somewhere, and this lady shared it on her Instagram and tagged me in it. I was like, oh, who the hell are you? So I go to her page and I see she does book reviews and wrote a book herself about Dyer Lane. So I said, hey, is this the same Dyer Lane in Sacramento that you shared this thing? And we connected, and I asked her to be on the podcast. So I'm gonna have her on too, not until the beginning of the year. But anyway, the way I book people is if you're interesting to me, if you seem like you're interesting, or if I'm just like one day just sitting here having a conversation with my wife, my fiance, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can find somebody who knows something about that. And I'll just start Googling people.
Okay. Okay.
I did sign up with a service that it was free service that is putting me out in a newsletter tomorrow, as a matter of fact, to some like 10,000 people who want to be on podcasts or something.
Oh,
interesting. And hopefully I'll get a bunch of submissions that way too, because this whole interview thing for me is somewhat of a newer part of the podcast. I've done a couple throughout the year, but when I got fired, I was like, I gotta do more episodes of the podcast. And I wanted to do something on Fridays. So the Freeloader Friday thing became, I had Arnie on, I had Stroke on, I had Lara on, and then I reloaded the Run a Hitman guy, and then I was going to have the porn star on. So I had this thing all lined up, and it was going really well until this week where the porn star kind of bailed on me. So now it's actually going to be me. I'm going to interview myself.
Okay, yeah.
About porn?
Not really. I put on Instagram, like, you know how you can put those little stickers, ask me anything type thing on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted that up to all the people on Instagram, and I'm getting a bunch of questions, and I'm not going to answer them until Friday, and I'm just kind of doing it like that.
Cool.
Oh, that's a cool idea, though. Yeah. That might be a nice break sometimes with the interviews.
Yeah. It makes it easy too, and it's fuck it, I'll just answer your guys' random questions. Some of them are serious, some are like, what do you tell me the meaning of life? All right, well, I'll give you Mikey the meaning of life.
Yeah.
What are you wearing right now?
Exactly, right? Stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely enjoy your show. You definitely have some fun topics, and then you get into politics and some of your thoughts on that, and I think most of the time I agree with you. So I tend to listen to hear your take.
I appreciate that. That's kind of what been what I've wanted to do too. Is be informative, but also be kind of entertaining in a really crazy way, and then give my take. And like this week I talk about fucking vanilla flavoring for like 30 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Do you guys know where vanilla flavoring comes from?
No.
Okay,
You know?
well, I've heard.
I can't say that. I do.
I think I've
Well-
heard what you're gonna say, and I've heard. If it is what you're gonna say, I've heard that about raspberry flavoring, not vanilla. But let's see.
It comes from a beaver's ass.
That's the raspberry flavoring,
So,
not vanilla.
No, it's for sure vanilla because I did a whole fucking episode on it.
Okay.
So it actually comes from the beaver's castor sacs. And in any way, but it's like a combination of like fucking castor fluid and anal fluid and piss, and it's beaver squirt, and they put beaver squirt in your coffee for vanilla flavoring. And it's disgusting.
Man. All
So
right.
that's why for many years, ever since I learned about when I learned about it, it was raspberry
Mhm.
flavoring,
Mhm.
and I
Well,
would
it's
never
actually- I
get
think that-
something raspberry flavored because of that.
Yeah. I think it's also raspberry flavor. I think it's
And
a few
now
different
I've
things
been-
that they use.
So now
Now you
I've
can't have
been
vanilla.
doing vanilla flavoring instead, and I've just been doing it anyway.
Yeah,
Man.
Oh,
So
wow.
you have to get vanilla bean.
yeah, you got to
Is
use
that
the real
what it
vanilla.
is?
Yeah, use that.
That's funny.
That's the way to go.
Man, because I just heard about vanilla, and I'm like, no, that's raspberry. I can still have vanilla. Don't mess with my vanilla.
You can have real.
So
vanilla.
thanks a lot,
Real
Mikey.
vanilla. You're welcome.
Oh,
But see,
man.
that's the great thing about a podcast, because then, so I say all these random things and I talk about fucking, beaver juice, and then the next thing you know, I'm talking about fucking, what else did I talk about? I talked about that WNBA player.
Yeah,
Talked
yeah.
about the Twitter
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and even the greatest thing ever, I talked about the American Girl dolls and how they wrote this. The American Girl dolls, you guys know what those are, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I mean, all little girl pretty much gets an American Girl doll at one point in their lives, and then they come with a book that talks about how great they are. It's like supposed to be girl empowerment and all this stuff. Well, they wrote a book recently, and it teaches kids, or it doesn't teach kids, but it tells kids between the ages of 8 and 13 or whatever, maybe even a little younger, just ways to go around their parents if they're having some questions about their gender.
Oh,
And-
yeah. Of
Oh,
course.
wow.
Okay.
And I have a little bit of a problem with that when you're talking to an 8-year-old, that you're telling an 8-year-old to
Yeah.
ignore your parents and go to this doctor, and you're giving
Yeah.
them the actual phone number and shit.
Mm.
So I
Oh,
talked
wow.
about that for
Yeah,
it's just, you know what I mean? Like, it's fucked up. And I have no, LGBTQ, do your thing. It's fine. It's all good. But I don't even think it's them. Like, I think it's beyond anybody who's gay. I don't think it has anything to do with that. When, people talk about groomers and stuff, and I feel like that book
Yeah.
falls into that category of grooming in a way. But
Mhm.
But unfortunately, it ends up getting blamed on gay people or whatever. But I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
the word groomer can apply to anybody who's fucking selling any sort of sexuality or any sort of gender confusion to a child. That's
Sure.
just my
Mhm.
opinion.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Oh,
what I got into
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
on the podcast. So see how weird it can be. It can be
Okay.
silly and fun and just lead right into heavy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, this got real quick.
See?
Yeah, no, we've been having a blast doing it. We've had, interviews as well with some directors and
Mhm.
actors and
That's awesome.
And
and
podcasters.
and podcasters. Radio
Yeah,
people.
It's important to
YouTubers.
do that though. How do you guys get your interviews?
Well, I mean, I just message people really. Like,
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of the Mean One, the movie that just came out. It's like a Grinch spoof,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
horror movie.
Mhm.
So, I just messaged the director, hey, so I got this movie out, we do this podcast, whenever there's an opportunity to promote something, if someone's wanting
Nice.
to promote something
Mhm.
and I feel like it would be interesting for them to talk about it with us, then I might shoot them a message and, they get back to me sometimes and then we get people on.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
good.
If you've seen the Terrifier movies,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Art the Clown, we've had him on the podcast.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was fun.
Hopefully have him on
That's
again.
fucking
eventually.
cool.
It's
Yeah,
been a
yeah.
year or so.
and
And he's gotten much bigger now.
yeah, he's
Oh,
he's
yeah.
a big deal now.
I mean, he's the
Yeah,
Grinch
he's a
now.
big deal.
Yeah.
He is the Grinch in that Grinch movie. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I mean, we don't really make too much on this at all, but it's fun for us as fans of the horror genre to be able to talk with these people. It gives them the opportunity to promote whatever they're promoting, but then for us as these horror nerds, it gives us the opportunity to talk with these people we wouldn't be able to either any other way. So
yeah,
it's
that's
cool
awesome.
Stuff. Okay, well, that'll lead us into kind of the topic of the episode, I guess.
Yeah.
So Mikey is bringing us his top 5 horror films. And are you like a horror fan, like a casual fan?
I would say I'm a casual fan, but I do have some favorites in the genre and in kind of, I guess, maybe the subgenres of it as well. But I'm a movie fan, and I'm obviously more of a music fan and more of like a tech nerd than anything. But I fucking love movies, and the ones that I do love, I will watch over and over and over and over again, and it becomes almost like with a couple on my list, it almost becomes a tradition for me at certain points throughout the year and stuff. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah, we definitely have those ourselves. So
Yeah.
All right, so let's do it. So start with your number 5 and work your way up. What do you got?
All right.
Okay,
5?
so when Mikey says his, are we gonna like then talk?
Yeah,
about
we'll
that?
chime in and give our opinion maybe if we have one.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, and since you guys, you're not allowed to judge me. You guys are like, you guys are
no.
horror movie pros here. But one of my all-time favorite movies, and I consider zombie movies part of the horror genre.
Yeah.
At least for me. And there's something about the movie Zombieland that I can watch over and over and over again. So coming in at number 5 for me is going to be Zombieland.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, that one's fun.
It is. Yeah, we haven't reviewed that one yet, so kind of want to get on those.
That
movies.
Movie's so good, and Bill Murray's one of the greatest cameos of all time.
Yeah,
in that
he is.
Movie,
Wasn't there a new one that came out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zombieland
and I
2 is
super
good.
wanted to see it.
Yeah.
We
got
really
not.
good. I love Zombieland 2, but Zombieland is to me is one of my favorite movies. And not just even genre or horror, just one of my favorites. And then probably more like in the ghost paranormal. Well, it is paranormal. So I would say Paranormal Activity is going to be number 4 for me.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Movie. I love those movies, the Blair Witch. I love the ghost movies, and I know the Blair Witch thing wasn't real, but I know some of the Paranormal Activity stuff was based on, loosely based on true story stuff. Yeah, that's the other thing too. I love when it's a true story. Oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm so in when it's true. Or if it's even big. Like what was that? What was that thing? It's just Netflix. They just had that came out recently.
The Watcher.
Yes, is that what it was? The Watcher. Do you guys like that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. I need to get on that for sure.
You should watch that because I thought that was really, really good. And again, kind of it's based somewhat loosely on a true story.
Yeah.
I think they were renewed for a second season too. So.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it was good.
Did it have like a solid ending, or did it
Not
really
really.
open for?
No, it just there was no closure.
Yeah, there wasn't closure.
So that's interesting.
Okay.
Number 3, American Psycho. I like the psychological fucking shit.
Okay.
It's a really good one. Yeah.
This classic, and Christian Bale's that's first movie I think I've ever seen him in. And holy fucking shit, man! Like he just that role, and he becomes that guy, and he is every narcissistic piece of shit person I've ever met in my life after that has reminded me of him. He did such a good job with that.
Yeah,
it is a really good one.
What a thing to remind you of. Like,
right, I know.
Every time I think of Christian Bale.
you remind me of Christian Bale, but not good Christian, not Batman Christian Bale. Piece of shit Christian Bale.
Psychopathic Christian.
Yeah. And that was based on a book, right? I think.
Yeah, it was based on a book.
Yeah.
Okay, we haven't reviewed that one yet either.
Oh, we haven't?
No.
Oh.
We haven't reviewed any of these 3 so far.
Yeah.
So.
No.
Good.
Yeah.
We haven't done Paranormal
Activity?
Activity?
No.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know I've mentioned it on my list.
Yeah.
Because I am a fan of that.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
So with number 2, I got to go way back, and this takes me to like when I was a kid, and this is why I love this movie and this whole franchise. And it's the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
because, that started in the 80s, and I was a child in the 80s, and that scared the shit out of me. There's never been a movie I don't get scared from scary movies, but But that scared me. Of course, again, I was a kid, and I've had traumatic experiences with it. One of them, I'll tell you, I've told this on the air too, but I'll tell you guys this. I was probably 7, 8 years old, and for whatever reason, my dad decided we're gonna go see Nightmare on Elm Street in a movie theater. And he was gonna take his fucking 8-year-old kid with him into the movie theater to go see Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, my sisters are teenagers; they're loving it, and my dad, whatever, he loved it. But at the end of the movie, they had some dude dressed up like Freddy Krueger in the movie theater.
Oh my god!
Going around fucking trying to scare everybody. This is the 80s now, or like early 90s, whatever, late 80s. So
yeah.
Back in the day, they didn't give a shit. But this, so I was bawling. That traumatized the shit out of me. But even then, Freddy Krueger was my favorite, even though he was scary as hell.
So, which is your favorite Freddy Krueger movie?
Probably out of all of them is going to be. I think is the 4. Fuck, I can't remember which one it is. It's either 4 or 5 is my favorite, but the first one is God, it's probably the best one is the first one, even though I like the other ones a little bit better. But I know just because it sets the whole story. I think that's the one with Johnny Depp in it.
Yeah.
And then and I believe he gets pulled through the fucking bed.
Yeah.
Like that's a classic shit right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole blood scene, like there was so much blood on the so that's a good one.
Yeah.
But for number 1, don't make fun of me, but this is the movie when I talk about, like, I watch this movie all the time. I could put it on right now and I love it. It's not even a Christmas movie. Go watch it on Christmas and it's still my favorite movie.
Okay.
Scream.
Yeah.
Scream, yes.
Scream was
number
in all
one.
of our
I think that's like the top for
top 5.
most of us.
Yeah.
There you go. Like it's such a good movie.
Yeah.
I just love that franchise too. It's just such a
the whole franchise. Even the last one, even though it wasn't that great, I still liked it. I still liked it because it just was just nostalgic in a way for me. So it took me back to, like, I mean, this movie came out with 96, 97 and I was a teenager. So it was a teenage. There hadn't been any slasher films in years. So then they brought Scream out, and it was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
There's
I love that movie.
New one coming in March.
Yeah, but Neve Campbell's not going to be in it, right?
No, she's not. Yeah.
I don't want to see it without her. How are you going to have Scream without Neve Campbell?
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think she might have a cameo appearance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm still. I just, this may just be like a marketing tactic or something, just to get people talking about it or something. But I don't know. I don't feel like her part was going to be that big in this movie because, I mean, whatever she's asking for the most part, like, it's Neve Campbell. She is Scream, basically. So
true.
Like, I don't know. But I feel like if her part was bigger, then maybe she would have gotten what she wanted. But I don't know. It's just
that's a good thought. That's a good thought.
Before Scream 5 came out, they had a plan for a trilogy of movies. So I'm thinking that they had her come back for Scream 5 and then maybe a scene or two in Scream 6 and then she'd be a main character in Scream 7. So that was my thought process. So I don't know.
That's a good thought process.
Totally
I like
wrong.
That. Gives me hope.
We'll see.
I'm going to see it regardless anyway. I'm going to watch it no matter what. But I still think I hope she's in it in some form, I hope.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, that is a good list.
Thank you.
It is.
Yeah, we'll have to hit you up maybe when we review. We did Scream already. So that was the only... Yeah. Oh, we did all the Nightmare movies.
Oh, yeah, we did Nightmares too.
But maybe when we do Zombieland or Paranormal or something, since you like those, I'll hit you up for one of those episodes.
Yeah, let me know, man. I'd love to come back and do that. It'd be fun.
Okay, awesome.
All right, sweet.
All right, cool. Well, it was great talking with you and learning all about the radio stuff. And
no problem, man.
It was good, talking about horror, of course. And we wish you luck with the job search and the podcast.
Yeah,
thanks, man. I
hopefully
appreciate
the podcast, gets going for you so that you can just live off of that. That'd be the most ideal thing, right?
That's the dream.
Yeah, that's the dream right now. That's what I'm fighting for. That's what I'm like. I'm trying to fucking create that reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where can people listen?
You can listen and it's available anywhere, wherever you get your podcasts. It's on, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or, whatever the hell that is. It's on pretty much everything. But if you can go to mikeypodcast.com to find your link, you can also connect with me on social media at mikeypodcast.com. But everything you need right there, or just search the Mikey Podcast, you'll find it.
Okay. And people can subscribe, right?
People can subscribe. It's I do free I post free stuff. Everybody gets free audio episodes every Friday. I do the Freeloader Fridays, which is a video episode, video interviews, which I post, and everybody gets access to that. But if you want to subscribe, it's less than 10 cents a day, but you get all the videos, you get access to all of the past episodes of the Mikey Podcast all the way back to 2020. Mm-hmm. You get other exclusive content. You get merch discounts and other things, and more stuff that I'm working on as we head into 2023 that'll be exclusive to subscribers.
Okay.
All right.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for coming on, and we'll have to have you back sometime.
Awesome. Yeah, hey, man, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Well, that was our interview with Mikey and his top 5 horror films. And this has been Scare Talk.
Sleep tight.
Don't let Mikey bite.
That's what I was thinking.